Hi, good evening everyone.
Good evening everyone. Good evening Sir Gary, kamusta po kayo?
Mabuti naman. Ito, medyo busy sa klase kasi nag-start na kami. Ikaw, Adrian, nag-start na ba?
Ayan po. Yes, actually nag-start na din po ang aming school and I think this night will be very exciting dahil marami tayong makakasama po sa ating webinar.
Yeah, so let's welcome everyone dito sa ating
Yes.
Back to School Kamustahan, no? So this will be additional tips for the initial implementation of distance learning in the new normal. So meron po kasing mga nagsimula na at meron pang hindi nagsisimula. So ang talakayan po natin ngayong gabi ay tungkol dyan sa mga pwede pa nating magawa at baka nakapag-prepare na tayo pero ano po yung pwede nating makonsider pa, no? So, Sir Adrian, let's call our panel, ano?
Okay, so our first speaker, ayan, so Sir Gary, good evening, Sir John Gary Garcia. He's an EdTech coach and consultant from Holy Spirit Academy of Malolos. Ayan.
Yes. Good evening po sa inyo lahat. And we have Sir Adrian. So Sir Adrian is also an EdTech coach and consultant and also been teaching under Paref Southridge School. Ayan. And let's welcome our next panel. Yung ating kasama sa GEG Ortigas at GEG South Manila. We have Paula. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Kamusta po? Good evening, Sir Gary and Sir Adrian.
Good evening.
So, sige, Paula, sabihin mo na kung saan school ka and go ahead.
Okay. So, I am an EdTech and IT support specialist of Cornerstone Christian Academy. It's a very small school in Quezon City. So, yun po.
So, good evening, everyone. So, para po sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, mag-good evening din po kayo using the chat area. Okay, let us know kung saan pong school kayo and ano pong maybe some like subject or level. So, yan. So, next, Sir Adrian, we have...
Next would be Sir Neil Alvin Neserio. So he's a social studies teacher in Paref Southridge School. Good evening, Sir Neil.
Sir Neil, good evening.
Good evening, Sir Gary, Adrian, and Paula. Hi, guys.
And he's also actually the GG. He's also the GG leader of South Manila. Kasama ko, ayan.
Yan. Hi, sir.
Ayan.
Nice to see you again.
Our next speaker po, Sir Alvin Balaba.
Ayan, Sir Alvin. Sir Alvin, come on down.
Hello po. Good evening, teachers. Good evening din po sa mga nanonood po sa atin. So, I'm Sir Alvin Balaba po. I am a junior high school Araling Panlipunan teacher in Santo Niño National High School, DepEd public school po. Good evening po sa ating lahat.
Good evening, Sir Alvin. And then, Sir Adrian, who's next?
Our next speaker, Miss June B. Maog.
Miss June. Welcome, Miss June.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. I'm Miss June. Sa lahat po nanonood, maraming salamat for tuning in. Good evening. Good evening, Sir Gary, Sir Adrian, Sir Neil, Sir Alvin.
Good evening. Ayan po. So, Sir Adrian, sino ang ating next?
Ayan po. Ang susunod naman ay si Sir Joel G. Castillo, IT Head from Veritas Catholic School.
Yeah, Sir Joel, good evening.
Yes, hi. Good evening. Good evening, Sir Gary, Sir Adrian, Sir Neil, Sir Alvin, and Miss June.
Hi, sir.
Good evening sa inyo. I'm Joel Castillo, and I'm the IT Head of Veritas Catholic School in PF Homes, Parañaque.
Ayan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ayan. Marami pa, no?
Sa mga nanonood po ngayon, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng sumusubaybay ngayon. Sa totoo lang, meron pa po tayong mga speakers pa. So masaya po itong gabi dahil maraming learning, maraming insights from principals, from teachers and IT heads. Ayan, so papakilala natin. Okay. Our next speaker, Miss Maan Santos de Guzman.
Miss Maan, good evening.
Hi, good evening po. Good evening to everyone and good evening to everyone else that's watching from their homes or from your wherever it is that you are right now. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Ang susunod naman po. Ayan.
Yes, we have.
Miss Melissa R. Espiritu. Good evening.
Good evening, Miss Milet. Ay, Miss
Ay,
Milet.
nakamute.
Sige, unmute natin.
Unmute natin.
Magandang
Ayan.
gabi po sa inyong lahat. Okay
Good
na ba?
evening, Miss
Naka-unmute
Milet.
na ako.
Yes.
Okay na
Famous
po.
words, unmute yourself. Okay. So magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Milet. I'm the principal of St. Joseph's Academy. Ito po ay isang paaralan sa Las Piñas, no? At affiliated po kami sa St. Joseph Fish. World famous for the bamboo organ. At
Wow.
welcome po sa lahat ng mga nakikinig ngayon. Sa mga tapos na maghapunan, matuto naman tayo gabi.
Opo, no? So, Sir Adrian, magandang sharing ngayon natin, no? So maybe it's good to say to state ano ba talaga yung purpose ng ating webinar ngayon, Sir Adrian. Go ahead, Sir Adrian.
Ayan po. Okay, so ang ating objectives for tonight, nakikita niyo ba yung aking screen? Ayan, so objectives for tonight would be, first, sharing of initial encounters and best practices. So, alam po natin na ang mga private schools ay nag-start na po ng school, nag-open na po, I think, first week or second week. Tama po? So, I think this is also the best time to learn from the initial experiences po ng ating mga teachers. Next would be discussing factors and considerations in online teaching. So ito po ay kailangan pa rin natin pag-usapan dahil right now, we're all first-timers po in online teaching. So we would really want to share what we've experienced, ano ba ang nag-work, ano pa ang kailangan i-adjust para makatulong din sa mga teachers na hindi pa nag-start. Lalo na po sa mga nasa public school. Ayan.
Yan, okay. So siguro mas maganda. Yes, Adrian, go ahead.
Sige po. And then, yes, ayan, picking up good practices. And lastly, strengthening of your personal learning network or yung PLN. So dito po sa GEG, in general, for Ortigas or South Manila or Philippines, welcome po kayong mga teachers, or kung gusto nyo lang po matuto, welcome po kayo sa ating community. So it's called Google Educator Groups. Ayan po.
Yes. So siguro, Sir Aiden, magandang mag-start na tayo. Pag-usapan natin, no? So maybe magandang pag-usapan natin, how did your school transition from face-to-face instruction to the online platforms, ano? So kompleto na tayo for the first part. So andiyan na si Paula, andiyan na si Adrian. Sino pa na? Kompleto na tayo? Ano tayo? 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
So, sige,
kompleto na po tayo first 6. Ayan. Gusto kong kamustahin. Ayan po. Gusto kong kamustahin si Sir Alvin kasi po he's coming from the public school side. Ayan.
So, gaya nga po nung nabalitaan natin last time, so ang amin pong opening is na-move from August 24 to October 5. So, sa amin naman po, medyo nakahinga ng konti para nabigyan kami ng konting panahon pa para mag-prepare, maghanda ng mga materials na kailanganin po namin. And actually, sa amin pong eskwelahan, nagsimula na po yung aming mga homeroom activities and we utilized messenger classrooms for the meantime. Pero we plan to really utilize more of the G Suite tools later on, lalo na po kapag talagang nagbukas ang school this coming school year.
Oh, okay. So, yung ibang school, karamihan ng school, nag-training naman talaga dahil alam natin na no choice tayong lahat, ano? To undergo training. So, yun yung mga initial steps that schools prepared for this coming school year. So, Miss June, ikaw ba, paano kayo nag-prepare? Ano yung ginawa niyo?
Yes, sir. Ako po, I actually just resigned from my previous school. And then, for a time, I didn't have any school to teach at. So, parang na-problema rin ako for a time. But then, Miss Millet graciously offered me a part-time position for St. Joseph's Academy. And I'm really lucky because nakita ko po yung preparations nila for online learning this year, the modified online distance learning. Nag-train po sila ng mga teachers And ang ganda po ng training nila. And actually, yung champion teachers from St. Joseph's Academy were trained by Sir Adrian. So magaling po talaga sila. At magaling din yung pagka-train nila sa mga subject teachers na nandoon. Kaya I feel like ready yung mga teachers. And then also, there were a series of orientation programs for both students and the parents. So, feeling ko po talaga na plano ng school under the direction of Ms. Millet, na plano po talaga how the school is going to transition from face-to-face to online. Yun po.
Yan. And thank you, Miss June. Oh,
Thanks.
syempre talagang kailangan natin magplano, no? Pero tingnan natin, yung pagpaplano natin, si Miss Paula, nagplano rin kayo for sure, I believe, nagplan yung school, ano? So, kumusta naman kayo dun sa initial encounter nyo with the students? How did you prepare? Miss Paula?
Actually, nag-prepare kami. So, I think last webinar, I did also say that we really trained rigorously, not only with yung sa curriculum, yung sa mga integration ng subjects, and even since Christian school kami, so we did a lot of training also in Bible integration, and even the SPED training. So we include inclusion kasi yung method namin sa children with special needs. So we had to train on that as well. And at the same time, yung technological training, we had to keep on reminding ourselves that technology is a support for education. It's not other way around. So, yun yung isang talagang in-instill namin sa mga teachers. And then at the same time, nung dumating na yung dry run namin for the first week, first time namin actually mag-spend ng isang linggo na puro halos orientation lang. Hindi kami nag-class or meron lang mga small activities pero hindi kami nag-lesson. We literally gave the children and at the same time yung mga facilitators na yung mga adult facilitators nila or even their parents an opportunity to really get immersed with the technology because this is the first time that we are doing this. Medyo anxious ako, to be honest, as the IT specialist of the school kasi for sure, marami talagang mga technical difficulties. But we were able to push through naman. And so far, nag-announce nga kanina yung principal namin na we're already at our 1 month mark. So, buti na. So, talagang as in, malaki yung, malaki yung in-adjust. At the same time, malaki yung mga bagay na natutunan namin for the first month of our school.
Yan. Oo. Sir Alvin, si Sir Alvin muna. Sir Alvin, na-share mo na kanina. Si Sir Neil naman. Sir Neil, paano kayo how's your initial encounter with your student?
Well, sir, like most schools, sir, nabigla din kami yung Southridge, no? Sanay kami ng face-to-face talaga eh. Talagang traditional kami. And then, I've been training with Adrian Cruz for like 3 years na. So, parang ngayon ko lang dinagamit yung online platforms na of instruction, no? So, nung mga 2 months back, I think, ganun nga, Adrian and Alvin trained the teachers in Southridge. So, from them, natuto kami, and then just a month ago, we opened our school, and so far maganda naman yung feedback. Although we're learning, continuous naman yon. Marami pa ring mga boo-boos and mga technical difficulties. Pero so far, because of the training that we had with Adrian and Alvin, mas kami,
And Miss June.
and Miss June,
Yeah.
mas confident kami to face this challenge. We've been on our second week already. So the kids naman, we could see that the kids are learning, and then the teachers are confident, no? Yung skills nila from classroom teaching to online teaching. Nakita mo yung nila, even the veterans, they learn to adapt to this paradigm shift. So yun, thank you so much so much Adrian, Alvin, and Miss June for also helping the school.
Ayun. So, bigyan lang natin ng overview na onti yung audience din. So, kami ni Sir Alvin, ako full-time, nag-support ako ng mga schools. So, back end, we supported some schools in the Philippines to help out in their transitioning. Dahil nga, lahat tayo most of the schools really needed to transition rapidly dahil nga there's no other way but to to continue this, and that's through online. Pero right now we'll continue by asking the other teachers and most especially our principals for
Yeah.
tonight. So ayan po.
Pero meron pa akong, before we
Sige
proceed
po, go.
with the principals, ano yung sa palagay yung malaking factor kung bakit nakapag-adjust tayo in a short span of time? Kasi syempre, andyan yung mga tenured teachers natin, ano? Matagal ko na narinig, pag nagtutraining ako, hindi ko kailangan ng technology. Ilang dekada na akong nagtuturo. Ganyan nga sinasabi sa mga tenured teachers natin. Kaya kong magturo ng walang technology. But now, they have to use technology. So, nag-adjust din sila, no? Ang nakita ko, kasi I also train teachers, ang nakita ko lang doon is the openness. We have to be open to change.
Right.
Oo.
We cannot be stagnant. We have to be open to change. Especially ngayon, no? Magandang learning lesson din to na napilitan tayo kasi wala tayong choice kundi mag-online, ano? Lalo na yung mga traditional schools, yung mga Montessori schools, they are able to adjust because there is willingness. Ano? I think yun yung gusto kong i-comment sa lahat, the openness and the willingness to
Correct.
learn new things. Ano? So, tignan natin. Ito, puro tayo teachers ngayon. No? So, let's welcome now our principal naman. Ano? Para tignan natin yung sa level nila, ano yung nakita nila. No? So, let's have Miss Maan and Miss Millet. Miss Millet, Miss Maan. Kumusta po
Hello.
ang inyong
Hi.
the initial encounter of your first few days or first few weeks? Sige po, let's
Oo.
start with Miss Maan.
Oo. Our experience medyo different ng konti, no? Kasi when the pandemic happened, most of the schools were closing already dito sa Philippines. No? Our school year is different. We end in May. So wala kaming choice but to really adapt. Kasi we were really in the middle of the school year when it happened. So we were hearing a lot of schools already closing their books, so to speak. Kasi tapos na March sila nag-end. But for us, we still had half a year to go through it. So the transition had to be quick. So yung advantage siguro namin is that we were using Google Classroom for some years already, but we were not maximizing it at all. In fact, after pagkatapos namin ma-realize na okay, but pwede natin gamitin lahat ng tools, naging madali na for us yung instructional part at the very least. Pero hindi, because we were doing it at the same time, ang daming adjustments na kailangan gawin. Kasi siguro later now when we discuss problems, I can share some of the problems that we encountered. But definitely, to a degree, medyo may advantage ka naman. Kasi ngayon, when we're starting the school year, we saw already, hindsight is 2020 vision. So ang dami namin natutunan in our experience in that almost 6 months na we were doing online school, so to speak. But for me, as an administrator, immediately what I did was to reach out to a lot of my fellow administrators in the region who had experience with going to online school suddenly. Kasi if you remember, Hong Kong had SARS. So some of our colleagues there, they already have systems in place. So I reached out to them to ask, what are you doing? What will you be doing given that mukha tayong masasara yung mga schools? So they were very nice. One of the things that I love about teachers, they're not afraid to share. So they shared with their system, agencies, and that really helped us in putting it together. So syempre, time na mag-a-adjust. Lahat naman, even all of us right now, we're still adjusting. So, pero, nakatulong talaga yun. Yung able to reach out to other educators who were so willing to also help. Kasi they know how difficult it is, di ba? To continue learning for the children. So, yun yung naging transition namin to face-to-face.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Maan. Ay, patak ba number? Wait. So, let's have Miss Millet naman. Miss Millet, can you
Yes.
share, Miss Millet, kumusta naman po ang initial encounter with your students?
That's true, no? Ms. Mann mentioned that most schools were winding down when the pandemic was in full force at saka everyone was forced to go on quarantine. I think in terms of transition to this ODL, no, nakatulong, and shout out kay Paula, no? So last year kasi we already sent teachers for training and certification. Tapos tuloy-tuloy na sana yon, no? We were really going to let all the teachers undergo training and certification, not because we saw a pandemic coming, but because we think that it's really very important, no? It's something that 21st century learners will start using, no? Blended learning, the five, the critical thinking, and all of that. All of that is in the alternative models, no? So talagang we were trying to phase out of very traditional models, and
Yeah.
it came in handy talaga nung doon nga nung nag-transition when things started to happen, no? And as an administrator, I was kind of more I was confident with the teachers. Parang I feel that they would adapt easily. Ang medyo inalalayan ko at the time was more of back end, non-teaching, parents in particular, no, because obvious that they were really afraid for the future of their children going to school, no. So there are decisions that had to be made, and we had to consult the parents every step of the way. Also helped na when we when we try out these new things very rapidly, no, you also communicate with them, no, the stakeholders, the teachers, parang very important na lagi silang in the loop, no? Hindi yung parang bulaga o ano na tayo, next week ganito na tayo ha. So talagang it was the longest summer of our lives, no? Parang hindi matapos-tapos yung in-service training natin. And that helped.
Yes.
That helped. No? Because when we started with practice classes, demo classes, and we were critiquing one another from, yung mga teachers, parang excited sila, tapos nagre-reklamo sila sa intern. It's all part of it. No? So at least na-experience nila yung problems. And then we started, this is the end of the first week actually. So, nila yung mga students nila. So, halong euphoria, excitement, and frustration. And, so the idea is to ease this. We said na dahan-dahan lang muna so that we can get our footing and eventually solve our own problems kasi hindi naman talaga mawawala.
That's true.
So,
I also want to comment then on what Miss Milat said, na you really have to make sure that communication talaga is solid. Kasi ngayon, there are fears
Yes.
So, like in our case, one of the things that we did in our school is that we hosted parent forums in which they can really ask questions about our program, and we can clarify things
Yes.
because there are a lot of educational jargon such as homeschool, modular distance learning, iba't ibang
Synchronous,
terms.
mga ganon.
Yeah.
True.
And that's
That's true,
actually
that's
the first time, no, that the parents know about it. Yeah. So
Totoo.
the
Actually,
Yeah.
we had to do FAQs, parang ganon. So we gathered frequently asked questions until we came up with a primer. So parang it's something that replaced the regular student handbook, and that's what we published. We sent to everybody's emails. So parang mayroong user manual bigla. Ito sa collaborative effort. Kasi it's the same questions from everybody, no? So hanggang 1 a.m. sumasagot kami ng tanong. So we might as well put it all in a document that they can browse when they're available. Medyo humupa yung mga ganong mga 1 a.m. calls and private messages.
kasi po ngayon dahil online, dahil sa online, wala nang office hours, kundi 24 hours na, no? So,
24/7.
24/7, yun ang yung disadvantage.
Ganun talaga.
Actually, that was one of the, yun yung isang advice that I got that was very practical dun sa mga na-reach out weeks, no? That we should have dedicated office hours regardless. Na tama si Ms. Mamilet kasi we also released a primer para alam nila kung ano yung expectations. Tapos pati yung
Yeah.
turnaround time nung nung answering, let's say, an email, kasi syempre, I can't expect the teachers to answer all the time.
Yes.
Or to be
Exactly.
available all the time.
Oo.
So one of the practical advice that they had was to have office hours published very clearly. Para you can keep your sanity also to a degree.
Exactly.
Si Sir Neil. Sir Neil kayo, kamusta yung transition ninyo with face-to-face? From face-to-face to online instruction?
Marami ding tanong yung parents sa amin. Gaya nila ma'am, mga 1 p.m. din, 1 a.m. may nagbe-message pa rin minsan. Pero since second week na namin, nakita mo na yung kumbaga downward trend ng ng mga fears ng parent. Kasi sila din, they're unsure of what's going to happen. Parang tayong teachers, kung tayo nabigla, what more to mga parents na to? Lalo na yung mga grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. No? Sila na yung mismo nag-aaral, lumalabas ngayon. If you see the memes in Facebook, makikita mo yung parent nandito nakatago lang sa tabi ng camera, may dalang pat-pat. Feeling ko ganoon din sa amin.
Kasi,
yung sila na yung nag-aaral.
The parents are, yung biglang response. Alam naman natin sa distance learning, lalo na sa lower grades, sa preschool, at hanggang grade 2 or grade 3, yung responsibility ng teacher, pinasa natin sa kanila. Unang-una dyan, yung pag-manipulate ng computer at pagpapaupo at disiplina. No? Kaya very, 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 very true. So as
actually,
teacher,
kanina nga nung ako I had to ask the grade 2 kid, where's your mom? Kasi hindi niya mahanap kung anong pipindutin niya. So I had to make him call the mom. Tapos tinuruan ko yung mom habang nagkaklase ako. So, you know, challenges like that. For it's funny, when you look back to it, ginawa ko, I taught the mom kung paano yung gagawin ng bata. So, a lot of challenges. Pero, so far talaga, it's fun that we are, kumbaga, embracing this change. And, kumbaga, everyone naman is open to this change. That's the good thing about this.
Yung na-mention nga ni Miss Millet kanina na parang meron kang primer and then everybody will really contribute to it. I think yun yung nangyari din sa amin nung nagsusulat kami ng handbook for this school year. Kasi it's really, hindi mo talaga magagamit yung previous handbook na meron yung school. So you're really going to start from scratch. Oo, pero most of it would be really coming from the ideas of the educational technologists, and then at the same time yung mga ano ba yung kaya nating i-support, what about the yung mga current na meron tayong system, can we actually bring it to the online to online learning? Kasi I mean that's also the challenge of that, so hindi madali yung transition. Pero I think that's one of the things that we have to also say out loud as teachers. The transition is not really easy. Pero as long as we do it all together and you ask questions, you clarify on things. Sabi nga, di ba, the famous commercial, wag wag mahihiyang magtanong.
Correct.
That is very powerful. If the parent and even the student ask, no? Hindi natin dapat isipin na dapat alam nyo na yan. Actually, ngayon na nga natin na-discover na hindi pala nila alam yon. So, it's something that we really have to also improve on as teachers.
Tama. Actually, sa side naman na nagte-training ng mga schools, yung part naman namin, talagang we really like then is that yung support ng importante talaga yung support ng administrators, ng principals, ng heads sa lahat ng mga teachers, kasi lahat natatakot, lahat in fear. Paano pag may technical concerns, paano kapag may questions yung magulang, because everybody's watching. It's not just the students but the parents are also listening or watching, di ba po? So, importante. Ang hirap siguro po ng mga ibang schools na totally walang support from the heads na, sige, bahala na kayo. Ang hirap din ng gano'n kasi, lahat po tayo dito, kumbaga, bago eh. Although it's not really new, the terms blended learning, synchronous, it's been existing the past few years already, di ba po? Yun nga lang, for Philippines, talagang hindi lahat nag-jump in to integrating technology. Tama
And
po.
this
I
is the
agree.
first time din kasi to implement it in the basic education. Most of the, yung mga nasa MA, yung mga nasa, meron ng Open University ang UP, they are conducting this. But for the basic education, this is the first time na force kahit na yung mga preschool, ano? Kaya
Totoo po.
medyo this is something new for the basic education. Okay, so ano ba yung mga challenges na encounter naman sa technical side? Yung sinasabi ni Teacher Paula, ano ba yung mga concern na na-encounter niyo when it comes to paano yung mga login name? Paano yung mga ganyan? Ano yung mga na-encounter niyo and what are the adjustments that you have done? Sige, Miss Paula.
Yeah,
And I think
so from this, no, you'll be surprised that from the point ng questions about saan ko ba makikita yung link or how do I log in for the first time. Parang to be honest, even when you prepared something for them, visuals, handbook, infographics, there would still be those questions, ano, na parang, so, ano ngayon yung gagawin ko? Ano ba yung i-click ko? Saan ako pupunta? Meron talagang mga ganong questions. And let's see. So, Sir Joel is actually the IT head of Veritas. So,
yes.
kayo po, ano po yung mga na-experience ninyo na questions or problems coming from your end users?
Actually, ang G Suite naman kasi hindi na bago rin sa Veritas since na 2014, way back 2014, naka-digital na rin kami rito. Yun nga lang ang pinakaiba kasi is ngayon online. So ngayon, ang na-encounter ko lang na problem is more on yung mga users is hindi makalog in doon sa G Suite account nila. Nakalimutan yung password and everything. So, since na ako may access ng Google Admin Console nung domain ng school, so syempre, nag-iisa din ako sa school, so ako yung gumagawa palagi or ako yung nagre-reset ng password and nag-assist din ako sa kanila.
Mag-comment lang din ako. Oo. May akala din natin kasi actually tayo yung mga gumagamit na ng G Suite or ng Gmail, akala natin kapag ipina-implement natin, akala natin alam na nila agad. 'Di ba? Yes. Since everybody has Gmail accounts, yun pala even the smallest things kailangan natin talaga i-emphasize or ituro just to make sure everybody knows how to enter or access their accounts.
Yes.
True. Kasi we cannot assume that they know where to go. Ano? So dapat talaga yung basic.
Actually, sure.
Yeah. Sige po, Sir Joel, Ms. Man, I think maraming concerns na ganyan, ano?
Yes, marami. Ultimo, mga teachers din nahihirapan din sila na minsan to assist the students. Yun nga lang, sa amin kasi dito, meron kaming channeling. So, hindi naman lahat ng nag-email din sa akin, kilala ko. So, dapat meron din tayong check and balance na dapat si student mag-email or mag-inform kay teacher na nakalimutan si password. So, si teacher naman nang mag-inform sa akin para at least malaman ko sino ba talaga yun. Kasi mamaya, hindi naman estudyante talaga ng school yun. So, at least may data privacy, sabi nga nila, na hindi dapat dinidisclose kung kanino. Dapat make sure lang na yung nagtatanong isa sa kanya talaga yun, sa kanyang account yun, or si teacher ang mag-a-assure sa akin na yung student na yung nagpapareset ng password.
Oo nga. Correct. Kasi to be honest, that's also a hot issue right now with not only with the parents but also with the educational community. Data Privacy Act, ano. So what problems ba kayo na-encounter doon, or questions coming from parents, ano? Like for example, especially with Miss Maan, since you are handling grade school. So is that something that is a problem that you encountered when you were preparing for online learning?
Well, definitely, it's something that we had to consider kasi the Data Privacy Act came before the pandemic. So, meron siyang mga rules na kailangan mo i-consider when you are doing online learning. For example, recording of classes, hindi siya basta-basta pwedeng i-record. You have to have explicit permission galing sa mga magulang na pwedeng mag-record ng class kasi may interaction between, and because I'm in grade school, lahat sila minor. So, hindi pwede, di ba? Hindi talaga siya pwede. So, kailangan nyo siyang gawa ng paraan. Kasi one of the things kasi we want to be able to provide asynchronous instruction also for our children. Yung pwede nilang balikan anytime. Lalo na ngayon, kasi hindi nila matatanong yung teacher kaagad. Kasi in a school day, di ba, pag meron silang question during lunch or break times, they can go to the teacher to ask. Ngayon, hindi na pwede. Kailangan lang i-chat mas maghintay. So, gusto namin ma-provide yun. Yung recording of classes, hindi siya pwedeng basta-basta gawin. Hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta mag-share ng pictures, for example. So, yung legal, kailangan mo rin siyang ayusin.
Yeah.
Correct.
We'd like to add in our group two from our GEG members in the Philippines. One from GEG Bacolod, Miss Moni Jean Espeleta. Ayan po. Hello po.
Hello, Miss Moni.
Maayong gabi.
Good evening.
Maayong gabi sa inyo.
Nag-tutorial talaga.
Ayan po. So, sige po, Paula. Kayo na.
So, yeah, so yung Miss Moni, if you so a while ago, no, yung isang pinag-uusapan natin dito is yung problems na na-encounter natin right now, especially na nagsa-start na po with online learning. Tama po ba, if I'm not mistaken, you teach po in the public school?
Yes po, I teach at Bacolod City National High School.
So how was your preparations? So, kamusta po yung mga preparations natin, and ano po yung so far na na-encounter natin na problems ngayon, and how do you address those problems, Ms. Pupet?
With the Bacolod City National High School, we have the in-service training. Sa in-service training namin po, thank God, no, sinama namin yung topic na Google application. So, Sir Ernie was with us also. We taught our teachers how to use the Google Apps, yung Google Doc, yung collaboration, yung forms, and then we also did the Google Classroom. And lahat yun naka-Facebook Live lang since we have to take note of the pandemic. So, in-service training kami na naka-Facebook Live lang. And it was a heartwarming experience kasi nga po, even though it's Facebook Live, pero yung mga teachers ng Bacolod National High School are really doing well kasi we had it a interactive na sumasama sila talaga sing, and then parang isa-isa po namin pinapaano sa kanila, and we are also joining them, especially the collaboration po. So nagko-collaborate kami, Facebook Live, at the same time nag-learn kami together. So, okay yun po. And at the same time po, I'd like to share kasi I'm also a member of yung English group namin together with Doc Jessica Hela of Bacolod City National High School, of the Division of Bacolod, yung English supervisor po namin. And I think I already remembered sharing it to the Google Philippines, yung sa chat room namin. I was able to share it na yung mga English teachers ng Bacolod, since there was a pandemic, and then we really had a hard time with the internet. So, yung kawa po namin sa English group, we learned the Google application, Google Forms kami, at saka yung little of the classroom, and naka-screenshot lang po lahat. Kasi hindi kami makapag-Facebook Live because of the internet connection. So, naka-screenshot lang, and we had to be able to have talaga ako kasi I was able to share it to the teachers, and then pag nag-collaborate and then they show to me the, itong mga samples nila ng mga tests using Google Forms, nakakataba po ng puso. And then it's really nice. So, yun po. Kasi we don't have choice naman. It's the pandemic, it's here. So, kakayanin po.
Maganda po yung sinabi ninyo, no, Miss Moni. Talagang the collaboration is really coming to play. Yun talaga yung isang malaking factor na kailangan isa puso nating mga teachers right at this very instant, no, nandito tayo sa pandemic. Oh, we would like to welcome another special guest, si Sir Ernie. He's
Hello,
also
good
from
evening.
GEG Ortigas.
Good evening sa lahat.
Yes, welcome po, Sir Ernie. Sir, kayo po, we've been talking about the problems that you've been encountering so far, no? And how do you address those problems, no? Lalo na yung transition natin coming from face-to-face, sanay na sanay tayo na tumatayo tayo sa loob ng classroom, and then here now, no? You're all online. So, ano po yung mga problems na na-encounter ninyo and paano niyo po ina-address ito?
Yung school kasi namin, by the way, I am from University of St. Lasal Integrated School dito sa Bacolod. Last February pa lang, nag-train na kami into blended learning. Bali, kahit na walang pandemic, we are really into blended learning this school year. So, medyo may preparations na kami since last year about how to use yung mga tools. Actually, we have 2 sessions already on how to use our LMS nung January at saka February. So ang ginawa namin sa school, yon intensive training sa teachers before after the lockdown here in Bacolod. Talagang intensive training namin sa teachers halos lahat, no. Bali nag-train kami ng core group, yung tinatawag namin na LMS champions. Nag-train kami ng core group yan. And then yung core group na yan, yun ang dati-train kasi dahil malaking university kami. Nauna yung sa college, then kami sa integrated school. Para yung mga LMS champions together sa assistance rin namin na nasa IT at sa technical side, kami ay nagtitrain sa mga teachers. Siguro mga 2 weeks yun, no? Mga 2 weeks yung training namin before kami mag-start ng aming klase. We are already on our second week this week. And then, prior to our first week of classes, gumawa kami ng simulations. On how teachers will deliver really ng kanilang lessons, paano gamitin yung Zoom at paano gamitin yung Google Meet, paano gamitin yung mga tools, no, di ba, sa Google Slides actually. Yung aming arm dito is yung Google Slides at saka Google Form. Actually, we have been using Google Form already for several years naman sa aming mga assessment. So, gumawa kami ng simulations together with selected students. And also, we trained the students on how to use the LMS and how to respond properly. Gumawa rin kami ng ticket namin dito. May standards on how to use the online classrooms properly. Mayroon kaming mga yung sinabi kanina ni Madam Melissa, yung FAQs. Yes, ma'am, gumagawa rin kami niyan. Yung mga send namin sa mga parents before mag-start. And then we conducted actually tatlo yung training namin, teachers, students, at saka parents on how to manipulate and how to use their LMS. Yun ang mga preparations.
Yung isang nakuha ko dun sa sinabi niya, Sir Ernie, is that you have champions. And I think Ma'am Millet or Miss Melissa Espiritu is also, she also has a group of champions in her school. So Miss Millet, paano po yun nakatulong, no, in facing the problems that brought about by online learning? Nakamute po kayo, Ma'am Millet.
Okay. When you have champions kasi you're empowering your faculty And iba yung feeling na amongst nakakatulong ka, no? So si Pao, no, I remember you trained about 20 of our faculty and non-teaching staff time, no? And then some of them eventually became certified, level 1 certified. Nakatulong yun sa self-esteem nila at saka dun sa desire nila to teach their peers, no? And the whole inset was really all about that. Prior to the inset itself, which started in June, sila muna, yung grupo na yon, no? Si Adrian also came into the picture and nag-refresher course sila. We also had session with Mr. Jim Toscano. So parang setting the stage muna kahit mabagal, no? So after that, when they told me that they were confident enough in their peers, no? That's the time. That's the time that they started the training itself, and it was wonderful to behold because yung ideas nila, yung kanilang sense of service lumabas talaga no during the virtual trainings, the demo. So I think it's really very important that we have a group of champions from among our faculty and staff whom we can do the rest of the employees so that they learn from each other. Yung kumbaga kasi teachers din sila, alam nila yung mga problema. So sila they help each other solve these problems.
Maganda po yung sinabi ninyo na oo nga kasi yung mga teachers sila po talaga yung humaharap sa students and even sa parents natin. And siguro kung gagawin natin na magkaroon tayo ng isang version ng frontliners, ito talagang mga teachers natin yung nasa frontlines talaga. Like the advisors and the subject teachers, they are basically the ones who needs empowerment. And that's true. Ano? Kailangan talaga natin silang i-train. With
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
maganda din sigurong ma-mention that Google actually has certifications. So they do have Google Certified Educator Level 1, which is basically validates the basic technology implementation inside the classroom. And then you also have the Google Certified Educator Level 2, which yun naman medyo advanced na ng konti. And apps that are being used na hindi masyadong common, like the maps and the may isang favorite na nakalimutan ko pero may isang favorite mga English teachers naman kasi parang you incorporate the story, the usual stories that you have in maps, and then with regards naman po with IT, so like with Sir Joel and I, since we handle IT, meron din po kasing course on G Suite IT administrator. So, yun, sir, if you have heard of it, Sir Joel, hindi siya madali kasi meron, meron siyang mga maliliit na courses in between before you can finish the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Na-try nyo na po ba yan, Sir Joel? Have you tried getting into such courses po?
Actually, sa ngayon, nag-review. I mean, nag-check din ako kung paano yung administrator na certification. But sa ngayon, kailangan ko munang i-boost and i-empower ko rin yung knowledge ko about sa Google Admin.
Oo, ako din, sir. And if there would be IT administrators that are actually listening and watching with us right now, really encourage that you get empowered as well because really the IT work is one of the things that that will bring online learning to life.
Yes.
So maraming salamat po dun sa ating insight, especially kay Sir Ernie at saka kay Ma'am Moni. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see more of GEG Bacolod. So before we let you go, meron po baka po gusto ninyong i-promote ang GEG Bacolod?
Sige.
Go ahead, Sir Ernie.
Ayun, actually we have been conducting many activities for GEG Bacolod na alam naman ng doon sa amin. Yes, for those who wants to be help or available services in GEG Bacolod, just message us or just join us in Facebook. Just anything that we want that we can help you in your preparation for this online class. Don't be shy, just call us because we are available as long as we have enough time. Yan naman. Salamat.
Yes po.
Maraming salamat po.
September 8 po,
Salamat
at 9 Bacolod sa University of UNR, Negros Occidental, Recoleta.
Okay.
Nasa plato po kayo.
Oo, wag po tayong mahihiya. Marami po actually tayong GEGs, ano? It's not only GEG Ortigas and GEG South Manila. So maraming salamat po, Sir Ernie and Ma'am Moni. Maraming salamat po for gracing us tonight. So,
Thank you for inviting
yun.
us, ma'am.
Apa. Sige po.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you again.
All right. So we have been talking about problems that we have been encountering ano, in online learning. And right now we have with us Miss Mahan, Miss Millet, and also Sir Joel. And as we move forward po, so let's talk about naman yung mga hindi natin pa nakita na, yung mga akala natin hindi mag-a-appear na problema, pero nandyan sila. Or yung mga hindi natin na-imagine na magiging problema pala. So, let's talk about ano ba yung mga hindi natin nakita? Ano? What did we not foresee? And paano ba natin hinarap yun? Anyone of you wants to go first? Sir Joel, ikaw? Given you have an IT background?
Well, actually, ang nagiging problema kasi sa ngayon is yung internet connection. Since nasa bahay nga din sila, since yung mga students nasa bahay or yung mga teachers din, yun ang nagiging problem, malaking problem na, well, kailangan talagang ma-resolve. Alam mo naman ang internet connection sa Philippines medyo slow, and yun din, yung mga parents actually, syempre pagka naka-Google Meet ka, usually kailangan ng naka-video. So kung mabagal yung internet connection mo, so parang naka-freeze ka lang. So yun ang isa sa kailangan ma-resolve na problem. Yun nga lang, sa mga teachers kasi, since na naka-GCQ naman na tayo ngayon, may ibang teachers naman kasi na pwede naman pumunta sa school since na available naman yung internet connection sa school. So they can use the facility naman dito sa school. So yun nga lang sa students, yun ang medyo mahirap dahil ako gustuhin ko man na tumulong sa internet connection nila or may setup ng maayos, pero hindi rin ako makapunta sa kanila. Hindi ko rin sila ma-support as much as I want to.
I really understand that, no, Sir Joel. Naku, nakikita ko si Miss Maan, do you have the same experience ba, Miss Maan?
Especially kasi kami nga, di ba, in the middle of the school year yung nangyari siya. Parang lahat tayo, di ba, we're at the mercy of the internet gods. Parang every time you're going online, you have to, kailangan mong pagdasal na okay yung stable yung internet mo. Kahit tayo right now as we are doing it. Tapos also kami, one of the problems we encountered na we didn't realize, no? Kasi I come from a relatively well-resourced school, di ba? Medyo okay yung population namin. Hindi namin na-foresee na, nga naman, some households at that time during the middle of the pandemic, hindi 1:1 yung devices nila. For example, I had a family na 5 sila. They have 5 students and only 2 computers. So kung sabay-sabay yung class, paano nga naman sila mag-share? So we had to adjust as we were implementing the program. So one of the things we did, at least for that time, we did a catch-up Wednesday. Kasi that Wednesdays, that day, they did, some of the kids or some of the families, what they did was to, some of the kids will access the material na hindi during class para magawa nila yung work. Kasi kailangan din natin lahat mag-adjust. Kasi sila, for some of my students, even if they can buy, there was nowhere to buy. So, kinailangan talagang mag-adjust. Kahit ngayon, I'm pretty sure yun yung problema ng marami. Kasi ako I volunteer to train public school teachers. I want to, di ba, tayo lahat we're here because we want to share kung ano yung alam natin. So one of the biggest na apprehensions nila, yung wala silang devices to do the work. So that's something that needs to be addressed also. Apart from, yes, Sir Joel, I totally agree, internet has to improve somehow. There.
Yeah, so aside from the internet connection and also the devices, I think isang ding hot issue ngayon na hindi natin lahat nakita is yung problema ng noise sa background natin. And I think Sir Neil has a very good sharing on this one.
Yeah, actually, maraming times to nung dry run namin. So the problem with noise is that hindi mo siya kaya i-filter basta-basta, lalo na pag hindi galing sa side mo. Lalo na yung ibang teachers sa school, meron silang mga manok for example. Naglalaban yung ano, nag-iingay sila tapos hindi mo alam kung
Kami nga
ano.
walang manok, pero may manok sa
Pag
video.
dumarating yung mga Shopee delivery natin, no? Maingay yung mga aso natin. So those are challenges na hindi mo naman pwedeng i-mute yung sarili mo kasi ikaw yung nagkasalita. So, maraming ganyang issues that kids would, lalo yung mga grade 1, mas vocal yan. Yung grade 5 ko kasi medyo hush pa yan. Yung grade 1, sir, your dog is barking. Nga, ganun yan. So, yun yung mga hindi natin na-foresee na mga issues. Isa yun sa mga, for me, challenge talaga how to shut up the dog and shut up the chickens. Ika nga. How about you, Miss Jude? Anong problems niyo?
Ako, sir, the problems were more on the teacher side. Because I came from Veritas Catholic School and it's a pioneer digital learning in South Manila. So, matagal na po kami gumagamit ng super education like what Sir Joel mentioned. And even though that's the case, mahirap pa rin na to transition from face-to-face because the problem there is how are you going to engage the students in an online setting? Ano yun yung pinaka-problem for me, the engagement of the students. And then the next one would be, ano ituturo ko? There are so many competencies that you can see in the curriculum, right? So ano dun na pipiliin ko because those competencies are designed with face-to-face instruction. Iba pagka online because then you have to be teaching the students at a shorter time. Ayun, kasi parang we cannot overburden them. Right? So yun, that is the main problem for me, how to engage them. What competencies do I choose para to make sure that they are parang equipped with the proper knowledge to move on to the next grade level. Yun. And then of course, yung internet, that's a perennial problem here in the Philippines. So ako po even with the demo class that I had with St. Joseph's Academy, during the last part, actually I was recording the class. But during the last part, beautiful last part na, biglang naghang yung computer ko. So I was kicked out. I was kicked out of the meet. Then I had to go back and stop the recording. So kaya bigla akong nawala doon sila. I was kicked out. Then yeah, I had to go back and stop the recording. So ganong mga issues. And then dito lately lang with the basic course class that I had with the grade 11 and grade 12 of Jack. Yung iba sa kanila, couldn't access the slides, couldn't work on the task dahil daw din sa internet. So they couldn't, I'm anticipating that this problem will show itself once in a while. So talagang, yeah, yun lang. I'm just extending my patience with regard to the that's really a problem that we see forthcoming ngayon sa mga classes. Tapos may nakita po ko lang na comment from Sir Ranger, sabi niya yung problems with extensions, with the Google Grid extensions. Totoo po yun kasi lalo na ngayon na Google is launching its updates for Google Meet. So yung extensions na ginagamit natin like the Google Grid View, minsan nagka-conflict siya, I think. So, ang ginagawa ko lang po doon, Sir Raymond, is I just refresh or reload. And if that doesn't work, I just remove the extension and then put it back again. And pray that it works. Yun lang po yung ginagawa natin. Ayun, marami pa pong unforeseen challenges. So, I think along the way, all of us will be encountering all of these. Thank you.
Well,
I really think na... Yeah, sige, go ahead, Sir Joel.
Actually, ang na-encounter ko rin dito is may mga teachers din tayo. Since na ngayon lang din tayo nag-online nga, so may mga teachers na may mga gadgets sila na ngayon lang talaga nila totally nagamit or ngayon lang talaga nila na push gamitin yung for example, yung laptop. So minsan, tama yung sinabi ni Miss June, na nagahang. Minsan talagang kailangan mong i-reboot or i-restart yung computer. So talagang mabibitin or mahang yung mga students mo doon sa Google Meet classroom nyo. So sa akin na ang ginagawa ko naman dito, since na more on nasa technical nga ako, so tinutulungan ko rin yung mga teachers. Sabi ko, kung sakasakaling ganyan yung mga problema nila, they can bring the laptop or their computer. So itatry kong i-troubleshoot para the next time na naggamitin nila, at least nasa condition naman na. So yun lang, siguro yun lang nakikita ko nga problema na isa pa sa mga teachers, bukod sa internet connection, is yung devices nila na ginagamit.
Buti sir, hindi pa Pentium 1 yung mga binibigay sa laptop no? Mga ganun pang laptops. Pentium 1, mga ano pa, no?
Yes.
So, kasi syempre hindi naman in-expect na gagawin to. So, hindi, yung upgrading naman ng laptop, hindi siya every year, di ba? So, parang suddenly, hindi siya mabagal.
And with that, no, one thing that siguro maganda ding i-mention natin is that you can actually use any device when you're using G Suite for Education. So, pero it's also notable to say that there is a device that is developed actually by the technology of Google, which is Chromebooks. And I think si Veritas has been using it, and one of the teachers that I know also na gumagamit nito is si Miss Millet. Kasi I think nung time ninyo yun, Miss Millet, that you used Chromebooks in Veritas, am I right?
Yes, Sir Joel is one of the pioneers there, Miss June, no? So, besides having champions, teachers in Veritas, we invested in Chromebooks, no? Parang at the time when nobody has heard of it. Ganon, no? So, ngayon, I'm using a Chromebook. It's not high-end Chromebook, but it's been around, di ba, Sir Joel? So, talagang sobra talagang tulong niya sa akin, ano? No nonsense siya, and it, all the G Suite apps that we need for teaching and collaborating na gamit natin sa Chromebooks na to. But then, yun nga, no? So, if I may just segue to yung inclusivity din kasi ng sa yung mga estudyante sa pag-aaral, no? From the time that we started the survey and we asked them what devices do you have, now many of them still don't have laptops. They're still using smartphones. Medyo may difference talaga. May konting medyo lugi. So, from those who are using laptops. So, dyan kami magre-regroup kami ng mga teachers to help, no? Because we cannot ram it down notes. So, you have to buy a laptop, no? So, yes, it's preferred, but we found out medyo marami, no? Tapos shared devices nga, no? So, magkakapatid. We did lang talaga in St. Joseph is medyo fix the schedule. So, yung magkakapatid na LM, junior high, senior high, hindi sila sabay-sabay. But then the device is important, yes, but at the end of the day, you can't really enforce it. So, you'll have to make allowances.
Yes.
Yeah. So how about in your school, Miss Maan? Are there any other things na you want to actually share about, problems? Kasi grade school ka eh. So usually ito talaga yung level na hindi madaling mag-online learning.
Actually, a lot of the anxiety actually usually from parents eh. Kasi syempre bata yung mga anak nila, takot talaga sila na papasukin yung mga bata or hindi sila sure kung kaya nung anak nila na they will attend class only online. But now that we're about a week and a half in, and you would be surprised at how great the kids are. Yung sila na mismo yung nag-annotate, they know how to mute and unmute themselves. But we really did spend, parang may isang linggo kami na tinuturo lang sa kanila yung platform. Kasi na-miss namin ng konti yon the first time we did it. So sabi namin, we're going to do it now. Nakatulong din na when we did, kasi we required, all the teachers are going to go through the level certifications. I think si Adrian yata, si Ian yung isang trainer nung school namin. But one of the things that that nakatulong doon is they became very comfortable using the tools.
Yeah.
So we now have a site that we share to the parents where we have videos teaching them how to use all of the tools that we have. Kasi apart from the G Suite tools, we also we have several platforms that we've been using for a while. Kunwari meron kaming math platform that we use. We also, most of our textbooks meron kasing online counterparts. So ngayon, na-maximize namin yun. One of the problems lang siguro, and I don't know if Ma'am Millet has the same issues or all the other teachers, we're still trying to establish better test integrity. I think that's a problem of almost all educators and schools now. Kasi syempre yung assessment systems naman natin, mostly pen and paper. So ngayon, what we're trying to do is to migrate most of them to performance-based assessments. Para merong para mas, di ba? Kasi mas authentic yon to a degree. But I'm pretty sure education is trying to figure that out now. Kung paano ba magkaroon ng better test integrity. Kasi, for example, not everyone can afford Proctor-U or Criterion, di ba? So, test integrity is an issue.
It is. I agree. It's not really finalized what we will do about it, no?
Yes, So parang siya, di ba, Ma'am Millet, parang titignan mo siya by subject eh. Ano yung best way to do the assessment.
Yes.
And also,
And
I think right now we're still
assessment,
waiting. Yeah, exactly. So I think also right now we're also waiting for yung panibagong grading system kasi the previous grading system cannot be carried over to what what we're doing right now. So that's also going to be, well, that's one of the problems na hindi pa natin hinaharap pero we already know it, no? So yeah, so many issues on assessment and also the preparations of teachers on how they will move from the common pen and paper and at the same time going to the performance base, no?
Sobrang nakakabilib nga yung teachers eh. Not just my teachers, I'm very proud of my team kasi lahat naman ng ginawa namin, talagang nag-contribute sila in terms of ideas. So what we're doing right now really came from collaborative effort of everyone in the team. Pero that's one aspect na palagi namin pinag-uusapan, yung how to get in test integrity better.
That actually may isa pa akong concern I'm afraid of this. Kung ngayon pala nakaka-experience tayo ng sobrang bagal na internet connection and parang konting private schools pa lang yung open, what more sa October when the public schools, magsimula na sila. I don't know. Yun yung isa sa mga fears ko dito. Ikaw, Sir Alvin, wala ba? Anong issues nyo ngayon sa public schools?
Well, sa amin, sir, syempre, yung nagulat nga po ako na for private schools, nagiging issues din po pala sa mga families yung mga devices. Yun po talaga yung isa sa mga number one problems namin na sinusubukan po namin gawa ng paraan through our Brigada Eskwela na some teachers and school administrators are finding sponsors na pwede pong magbigay ng mga luma nilang devices, kahit po mga lumang cellphone, kahit analog, tinatanggap po namin kasi may mga students po talaga na from the poorest of the poor na kahit analog cellphones wala po sila. So sabi po namin, kung yung analog phone naman na hindi na ginagamit sa bahay, mas mainam na maibigay na lang namin sa ibang may kailangan talaga para at least kahit through text message, nai-inform yung parent and also yung mga bata. So, ayun po yung isa sa mga problems talaga namin. And also, yung accessibility din ng mga bata sa internet. Pero na-share ko din po ito last session na I know the local government unit of Parañaque, they are planning to give or to make yung mga antennas po, yung satellites na magpo-provide ng internet connection na may 10-kilometer radius daw po. So with that, we are very thankful sa LGU. Kaso nga lang po, that would take effect or magiging smooth pa po yun by October pa kasi yun po ang sabi ng aming mayor. So nakakatuwa pong isipin na lahat ng stakeholders, the parents, the LGUs, and students, administrators ng school and yung teachers ay nagtutulong-tulong po talaga for this situation. Tunay po talaga na napakamakasaysayan ng dadating na school year para sa ating lahat. We never had this kind of situation from the past na nagtuloy po tayo even with in pandemic. I remember kung sa history during the war na tinigil po talaga, pero tayo po, we are really still pushing through kahit na we have this war with the pandemic. So yun po.
Yeah, very true. Kasi kapag huminto naman tayo sa pag-aaral, kapag huminto ang mga estudyante sa bahay, mas mahirap yun. Ako, bilang magulang, anong gagawin ng anak ko sa bahay, no? So, at least kahit pa paano, merong routine na papasok sa eskwela, merong haharap na, sa mga kaklase, may mag-aaral sila, at least medyo productive sila kahit nasa bahay sila. So we have, kaya natin to lahat basta tulong-tulong. Katulad nga sinabi ni Sir Alvin, nakakatuwang isipin na makakayanin natin dito to na basta sama-sama tayo, no? Yan. So, may mga ako nakita kong concern naman bilang magulang, yung natutuwa ako sa anak ko dahil nandyan lang sila. Hindi ko na worry yung bullying. Hindi ko alam kasi kung sino yung classmate nila, no? Bagong set ng school year, bagong section yan. Hindi ko ngayon worry ang bullying or kung kumusta yung anak ko, kung nagkaroon ba ng bagong kaibigan, may nakaaway ba, nasaktan ba, kung ano. Wala akong worry ngayon. Ang worry ko ngayon, ganito ba kami araw-araw, ilang oras nakaupo sa harapan ng computer. Medyo unhealthy na, no? Unhealthy na kahit para sa akin bilang guro din, no? Medyo unhealthy, lalo na sa mga anak ko. Baka, alam niyo yung wala tayong ganong physical activity. So, iniisip ko nga rin, magandang study rin siguro, no? Ano magiging long-term effect ng distance learning, lalo na sa
basic tama po yun.
Sa mga bata. Yun yung worry ko kasi hindi natin alam, maganda ba o hindi ba maganda. So, sa ngayon, tignan natin. So, siguro, yung mga PE teachers dyan, medyo gawin natin, magsayaw tayo sa harapan ng computer para kahit pa paano. Merong physical activity ang mga bata, ano? So,
on the brighter side, I think on the brighter side then, Sir Gary, maganda ding in-note na ito yung opportunity for the teachers to really see how creative and how innovative they are. So, talaga marami kang magagawa na akala mo hindi mo magagawa noon. Pero, hello! We are all doing it now. And totoo yun, it's a huge struggle, lalo na dun sa mga skill subject like TLE Cookery, sa ICT, wala masyadong issue kasi hello, naka-computer na yung mga bata. Pero like PE, even arts, no? Medyo nahirapan din kasi like arts, you use your hands a lot. And usually the teacher would really have a good grasp if the kid is doing it properly kapag nakikita niya or nag-guide niya ng maayos. Ngayon talaga virtual at saka yung problema natin na biglang may lumalabas na estudyante from the synchronous session, mga hindi nagpapasa na during asynchronous. So in that po, no, with that with regards to that, yung mga hindi nagpapasa, what are do you have rules that you implement like in your handbook or maybe in the primer that you did for online learning? Meron ba kayong mga nakalagay na rules doon? Like, what if hindi nakapagpasa, wala siyang internet, di ba? Or may power outage? Because those are the things that we really cannot control. It's not part of something na kaya nating kontrolin.
Magandang question.
Kami we became very flexible with worksheets. So, nung time na we were in the middle of it, the kids have about until 9 p.m. to kasi kunwari one of our problems is the parents are also working from home. So sometimes yung devices nila yung ginagamit lang din.
Yes.
So we allow them to submit until 9 p.m. kung kailangan, kung may sasubmit man or whatever. Tapos yun nga, we try to migrate the assessments to performance-based ones para mas yun they can video themselves doing it. Tapos pag sinabit nila, alam namin na sila yung gumagawa, so to speak.
Southridge. Parang same tayo, Miss Maano. Sa Southridge, ganyan din. Before, ang namin yung dry run, ang setup namin, the kids will submit 9 p.m. on the day pagbigay ng module. And we found out ang daming complaints from parents, no? So, we're also working, mga ganyan. Tayo, yung usage ng device, minsan kanila yun eh. So, what we did to kumbaga, para ma-solve tong problem na to, we give the modules on Saturdays, and then Ang deadline nun is somewhere in the middle. Pag mahaba, pag maraming research, other Saturday, next Saturday. So medyo nag-a-adjust pa din. Wala kaming definite rule pag hindi nagpasa. So far ngayon, it's a trust basis eh. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, ako, I'll give you a failing grade kasi late ka nagpasa. I gave the module Saturday, it's Wednesday na, hindi ka pa rin nagpasa. Hindi pwedeng ganun eh. Ngayon
Oo.
kasi the kids are also, they're still learning. Pag
That's
masyado
right.
tayo strict sa rules natin, parang nakaka-off. So siguro for the first month, I suggest for teachers na nakikinig dyan sa team natin, I suggest medyo kayo, kumbaga open up your hearts muna. And
Oo,
then
that's true.
kids explore. You also explore. Medyo lang tayo. Pagbigyan natin yung mga bata muna ngayon.
Oo.
Yung hindi sila
Yes.
kapagpasa, magalit sa klase mo. Okay lang yan. Okay.
We have to trust them, ano? Ako
Correct.
Yeah.
when I conduct training sa mga schools, ang sinasabi ko lagi, marami tayong dapat i-consider. So, if you're going to give assessment, no? Halimbawa, Monday ang klase mo, no? Babigay mo yan ng Monday. Ang deadline yan, the following Monday or yung merong Sunday. At least they have 6 days to work on it. Kasi kung Monday ang klase mo, Monday mo ibibigay, they have several days to work on it. Kung Tuesday ang klase mo, meron siyang Wednesday to Monday naman. So, nag-a-adjust din kasi maraming tayong dapat i-consider. So, yun ang hiningi ko lahat sa mga teacher, i-adjust natin para yung mga estudyante, tinuturuan din natin ng time management. Since nauna yung Monday, tapusin mo muna yung Monday. Kasi pag hindi mo ginawa yan, may dadating sa Tuesday, may dadating sa Wednesday, tatambak yan. So, take note that we have to teach them life skills like time management. So, at least a week in deadline natin. Yun yung advice ko lagi, no? So, yun, kayong bahala kung i-take nyo yun or hindi. But we have to teach them time management, just give them a leeway, at least they have enough time, no? Para yung siguro sa mundo lang. Ayan.
One of the
Ayan,
things
so what's
that
advice?
we instituted now is every week on Fridays, we release what will be happening the following week. Para the
Wow.
parents have an idea we link all the materials there. So we use Google Docs, we just link all the materials there. So they can just click and see what's happening in the week. That also solves yung mga materials. Kasi that's another thing na ang hirap i-source ngayon, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Pag nahingi yung teacher ng 1/8 illustration board, ang hirap humanap. So, kailangan din maging sensitive with that. So, one of the things we did, we have every Friday, we release the schedule for the following week para rin makaprepare yung household kung kailangan.
Yes, totoo yan, Miss Maan. Kasi ang sinasabi din ko sa mga sa schools na o sa mga teachers, let us make use of the resources that you think is available at home. Hindi na kailangan lumabas para bumili at hindi na kailangan lumabas para gumastos. Kasi alam niyo yung paggastos natin ngayon, we don't know how long are we going to stay like this. So, kailangan natin mag-conserve. So, gamitin natin yung resources sa bahay na alam natin na kapag nagpa-project tayo, hindi lang display yung project, kundi useful sa bahay. No? So, yun yung mga consider natin na magpapagawa tayo sa ating
Siguro, I think even sa high school, Sir Gary, kasi ako, to be honest, I'm actually very surprised na my students was able to comply. Siguro may mga ilan-ilan lang yung hindi nagpapass. Kasi in our school, we allow them to pass their task within the day, and then kapag nire-remind na lang namin sila na hindi mo pa to napapasa, I think you should revisit this because you might have missed it. So yung mga ganun, very, in all fairness to the students, they're also very conscious. I think with regards to having students sa high school, sila na yung they already self-regulate. Tama ba ako doon, Miss Millet? May self-regulation na ba sila given that they're a little bit of adolescent learners na sila.
Yeah. Totoo yan.
They should be. They should be. At least.
Ideally.
Iniisip ko yung sarili ko ng high school.
What I noticed this past week, no? Kasi I've been going in and out of talking. I've been observing some online classes. Parang the attendance is very good, no? So parang taking problem compared to when we had face-to-face. And then everyone was focused and asynchronous time was really used properly, no? Even if the deadline is still a week from the time that the teacher gave the assignment, parang everybody wants to work na, no? And the excitement ng bata, I hope it will last till May. No, pero sobra, no? Kung hindi lang, 'di ba, we have this feature in Google Meet na the teacher should be the one there first, no? And the kids are not supposed to enter the meet before the teacher does. And there are kids that who keep on pressing, even if we tell them, your teacher's not there yet. The excitement is so palpable, and I hope na masustain ito, na makita ng parents tsaka ng bata at ng teachers how this is helping them, no? In spite of the limitations ng ODL, ay exciting pa rin magturo at matuto. Yun. So, sana tuloy-tuloy. Sana masustain.
Totoo po yan. Talagang I think this time, our students kasi are digital natives, no? So, may excitement talaga. Merong, may sense of energy and yun nga, excitement sa mga students dahil ito yung thing nila ngayon eh. Ang siguro kailangan natin matutunan din as teachers is how do we be consistently, or how do we make them be more engaged every time that we meet them in synchronous sessions and even in our asynchronous sessions. How do we make sure our modules are kumbaga engaging? Paano ba sila mas magiging interesado pa when it comes to the subjects that we're teaching? So ayun naman.
Magandang topic yan siguro, no? How do you engage? How do you keep the engagement? So yung mga teaching strategies na yan pag online, no? Kasi iba na yung teaching strategies natin ngayon tsaka yung classroom management kapag distance learning na tayo. It's a good idea for the next topic, ano? Pero siguro hindi mo na yan kasi matagal na rin tayo. No? So yan. So
siguro we'll just proceed na lang with eto pala this one here.
Yeah. Perfect for the next webinar.
Ayan. So,
nako.
For our last question, ayan, what advice will you give teachers who have not started and are currently still preparing for their school year? Ayan po.
Sino magsisimula? Sige, ako na
Maybe
mag-start.
Sige. Sir Gary, go ahead.
Para yung mga nasa backroom natin, maka-join din. Talapos ako pagkatapos ko magano. So, advice ko lang sa mga teachers, meron tayong prepared things to do. But we have to be flexible with our students, katulad ng submission, katulad ng may mga concerns kasi na hindi pa natin nakikita. Katulad, nasabi kanina yung mga internet connection concern. So, kung sa ngayon, konti pa lang tayong gumagamit, hindi na, katulad ng sabi ni Mr. Alvin kanina, what if sabay-sabay na tayong gumagamit, kaya ba ng infrastructure ng mga telecoms yung internet signal ng lahat? So, we have to be flexible. And another advice that I can give to teachers is that wag po tayo mag-focus muna sa content na yan. I think it's more important for us teachers to build relationship with our students kasi we don't know what is happening on the other side of the screen. Baka nakatingin lang yan sa screen pero merong sama ng loob. So my advice is every time you start the class or end the class, meron kayong using Google Form, you can ask them, how are you today? Pwedeng multiple choice lang yan or pwedeng mag-provide ka ng multiple choice. Tapos meron kayong open and yung parang paragraph na they can type how they feel. Kasi baka mamaya meron pala silang nasa loob. Yun yung mas importante sa akin more than the academics. I think, in my opinion academics is just secondary. It's more important for us to build our relationship with students and the values that we have to impart to them. Pangalawa lang po yung academics. So yun po yung aking advice. So sige po. Miss Paula,
Sure. I think one of the things taking off then from so what Sir Gary said, it's really also relationship building. I think yun din yung reason kung bakit nag 100% yung faculty members namin for the GCE level 1 exam. Kasi you really have to also ensure them that you can do it. Para kung kaya ko, kaya mo rin. Pero dalawa tayo dito, hindi kita iiwan, tayong dalawa to. And then later on, yung empowerment kasi na yun is masasalin nila yun towards the children and towards the parents that they will assist. So, I really think that it's the relationship of all stakeholders of the school. Dapat yung isang nating pinagtutuunan ng pansin. We're not supposed to just be focused on finishing the curricula, because to be honest, that has been the mode of Filipino teachers. Finish the curricula because it's needed for the next level. But, to be honest, ako ang isang nakita ko ngayon, no, is something good that came out of the pandemic and also, online learning, is that we are more conscious on making sure that nobody really gets left behind. From the faculty members to even to the tenures. yun ang isang nakita ko. And at the same time, even the children. So, kaya I also want to really thank yung school namin, kasi even the children with special needs, talagang hindi pati sila hindi pwedeng maiwan. So that's one thing that this pandemic really gave us a good bird's eye view of the things that we should focus on and the things that we should improve on. So build your relationships, teachers. Build your relationships with your students and parents, especially if they are new. Don't forget to ask them how they are. And at the same time, don't forget to take care of yourself. Huwag po kayo magtrabaho ng 7 a.m. magsa-start ka na, tas ang out mo ay 1 a.m. Ganon. Make sure that you also take care of yourself, because if you're absent, who will support, diba? Who will support your class? So yeah, take breaks in between. I should also preach that to myself, to be honest. How about our principals, Miss Millet? How about you?
Ako, two things, no? Collaboration and communication. We have all the means, we have all the media, and the tools at our disposal. So mag-usap-usap yung mga teachers in the department, di ba? Integrate, no? Lalo na ako, ang laki ng promise sa akin ng asynchronous time. Hindi ako masyado sa synchronous kasi nga anytime makakat ka eh. So, nakikita ko medyo doon naka-focus, nakatutok doon. I think the creativity of the teachers will come out more in the asynchronous that they are preparing when they're not there to supervise the children. And it's also the best time for the parents or the guardians or whoever is taking care of the child to also support. Kung makikita niya yung mga activities there, they can cook together, garden together. Sana yun ang medyo pagtuunan ng pansin din ng mga teachers natin. Babayaan yung asynchronous time, no? Synchronous is really something you cannot control because of the very poor Wi-Fi connection. That's yun, constant communication with each other, no? With administration, no? So yung kanilang mga hinaing, yung kanilang mga, kasi valid lahat yan, feeling valid, no? You get frustrated, valid lahat yan. So I think people should know why you are frustrated, kung ano yung mga bakit hindi ka maka-perform, bakit hindi mo maibigay yung gusto mong ibigay sa estudyante, anong problema mo. So I think yung dapat pinag-uusapan, communication. Kasi pagka-clear lahat yon, aside from the primer and the policies, yung relationship nga, building is not just between the students, but also among faculty. If they can repair yung mga damaged relationships perhaps, kasi ngayon medyo initan kasi parang everyone is rushing to complete something, no? So if medyo may isang hindi nakakasunod, nasa-stress lahat, no? I think chill lang teachers, no? Learning curve tayong lahat, no? We will not let ourselves fall behind. We'll also help each other, no? If the time comes. Yun yung mga, yun lang.
Ayan. Thank you, Miss Millet. Dun. So, communication and collaboration. How about Miss June? Ayan.
Ako po, since nasabi na po nila lahat, magaganda yung lahat ng nasabi ng mga previous na nagsalita. So, dalawa na lang po sasabihin ko. Ito po yung lagi ko nilalagay sa utak ko as a teacher yung I should not give grades based on privilege. Hahabaan ko yung pasensya ko kung pwede. Hahabaan ko yung compassion ko para sa mga estudyante. Kasi ako rin naman, I also experience a lot of problems, not just with technology also with siguro with my mental health, right? Kasi po mas mahirap for me. I don't know with the other teachers. It's harder for me to prepare online classes or lessons as opposed to yung the previous years face-to-face. Actually, sa totoo lang, since math teacher po ako, I can just go to the classroom and then just look at the topic for today and then just teach right there and then without any lesson plan, di ba ba? But for now, hindi pwede eh. Kailangan nakakaya sa mga bata. So, dapat prepared tayo whenever we come to class. So, yes, we do not focus on the content, pero sana we make the session fun for them, enjoy. Dapat i-enjoy lang nila kasi we help each other out to get through this pandemic. So, while still learning. So, yun lang po yun ang akin. Just extend the patience and then yun, don't grade based on privilege.
Ayan po. Thank you, Miss June, for that. Sir Alvin po.
Gaya po ng nabanggit ni Miss June kanina, we already had good advices coming from teachers po natin kanina. Pero sa akin naman po, siguro what I would advise teachers is to we've been busy preparing so many things already. Kaya yung ibang parang medyo nasa-stress na, yes, it's good to hustle, but it's also good for us to align ourselves. To align our goals, our objectives. Hindi pwedeng go lang tayo ng go ng palagi kasi kapag naging ganun po yung mindset natin, mapapagod po talaga tayo agad. Sitting alone sa harap ng mga computers natin for number of hours, nakakapagod na po yun kahit nakaupo ka. So, minsan mahalaga din po na nagre-reflect tayo. We take pauses to reflect. Tama pa ba itong ginagawa ko? Is this really working? And then kapag na-align mo na yung mga objectives mo ng mas maayos, then yung progress na naiisip mo in delivering your classes ay mas magiging mas magaan at mas madali. And at the same time, nai-enjoy mo na rin yung proseso as you go along doing it. Ayun po, teachers. Mahalaga pa rin po ang mental health natin bilang mga guro because kaya nga sinabi ni Miss Millet kanina, if we fall, magkakaroon pa yan ng negative effects. So we have to work together, communicate, collaborate. Huwag niyo pong isipin na mag-isa po kayo. Lahat tayo, sabay-sabay na natututo. Sabi nga ni Miss Millet kanina, may learning curve po ito. Eventually, matututunan din natin lahat ng kailangan nating malaman. Pero kung magbabalik man po ang lahat sa normal, at least, nagawa natin ng paraan yung mga challenges na kinakaharap natin ngayon.
Ayan. Thank you, Sir Alvin. So, it's okay to hustle, but we have to make sure aligned ang objective sa atin. Ayan. Sir Alvin. Sir Neil.
I love being in this group. I could see mga master teachers, how they evolved, how they adapted dito sa pandemic na to. So, ang suggestion ko sa mga teachers na hindi pa nagsisimula ng school year nila, unang-una, huwag kayong matakot sa changes. Kasi, it's normal. Huwag tayo mapufall sa trap na, naku, bago na naman to, sanay ako sa ganito. Huwag ganon. Kasi, pagka iniisip natin lagi yung ganon, tendency is naiiwan tayo eh. We should be always positive. Siguro ang hindi pa nabanggit ng ito is that probably the best thing to do now is to pray as well. Idagdag nyo lagi sa prayers nyo every day, every passing day. Ano ba yung matutulong ko sa bata? How will I help my co-teachers. It's not about you eh. Everybody's experiencing challenges, but the thing here is, how can you lessen the burden for others? Hindi lang puro you. Kaya nasabi ko kanina, open up your hearts. Marami dyan, first week nyo, for sure, pagpasok ng mga bata dyan, lalo na yung parents sa public school, they will bombard you with questions. They will bombard you. Teacher, hindi namin maintindihan yung ganito. Wala kaming ganitong device. Stressful yan, no? Stressful. But think about, kumbaga, how can you help these people? Hindi yan pagandahan ng first day pa lang, ang ganda ng slides mo, ang ganda ng mga videos mo. Hindi ganyan yan eh. It's not about competing with others now. It's about how to bridge the gap between you, your students, and then yung company mo ng teachers. How do you push forward together? Tama si Mr. Ngay na walang iwanan. This is the time that everybody should move forward together. Accept change. Mas maganda yan, mas makatawid tayo sa isang rumaragas ng ilog kung sama-sama tayo. If you go alone, tendencies matatangay ka ng ilog na yan. The thing here is, everybody should adapt, everybody should love what they're doing, everybody should open up their ears. Yun yung suggest ko sa mga new teachers. Kaya nyo yan, guys. Kaya nyo yan.
Thank you, Sir Neil. Very heartful, no? Miss Maan, ayan po. Ano po ang ating advice for our teachers listening right now?
So I'll rehash some of the things that I told my teachers at the start of this new year. So siguro one is you want to be kind to your students, but you also have to be kind to yourself. So you have to give yourself time to learn the material and also the platforms, because we're placed in a position that we have to learn very quickly. So we just have to give ourselves the time to learn. But second, when you learn something, you have to share it also. So you have to share it with other teachers. You really don't keep it to yourself, kasi sometimes we have that tendency na, ay, alam ko to, sila nila alam. But it's really great to share at this time. So if you learn something new and it's something that will make the life of someone else easier, share it to everyone that is in your department. That way you are building that trust with one another na pwede nyo i-develop yung one another. Tapos third, pag meron kayong hindi alam, magtanong tayo. It's really great to consult. One of the things that I've learned during this pandemic, hindi nakakahiya to reach out to people even across nations. Kasi everyone's trying to learn from one another. If you're part of GEG, if you're part of the Facebook group that's your GEG Philippines, ang daming resources doon. Because there are other GEGs around the world, hindi lang tayo yung nandito. So pwede talagang mag-consult everywhere. So huwag mahiya, don't keep it to your small community. Try to broaden yourself. And then last, I think it's really important kasi there are lots of things that we cannot control now, including our internet. Diba? You pay for the plan, you can't control it. So there are lots of things that we can control. There's a lot of large media messaging that is negative. But what I always say is because you're in charge of the classroom, whether or not it's digital. And in that place, you want to keep it as positive and as wonderful as possible. So during the time that you spend with your kids, make sure that you empower them by being very positive as well. Because I firmly believe that if teachers help one another, they're helping children, they're helping the country. So I hope that that's the message that you get from all these things there. Thank you. Have a good evening. Sir Adrian, nakamute ka yata, sir.
Ay, ako nakamute. Okay, Sir Joel po. Thank you, Miss Maan. Ako pala yung nakamute na, sorry. Sir Joel, ayan po.
Well, actually, for me, kasi hindi naman ako part ng teaching side, kasi nasa administration side ako. So, siguro ma-advise ko lang sa mga teachers na magtuturo or gagamit pa lang ngayon ng technology. Huwag kayong matakot or huwag kayong mahiya na magtanong. Well, since ako, nasa IT side ako, yung mga teachers na first time or talagang hindi naman techie or tech savvy na sinasabi, huwag kayong mahiya na magtanong sa mas nakakaalam pa. So, hindi naman porket na computer na yung ginagamit and sabi nga, pagandahan daw ng slides. So hindi naman yun ang kailangan yung pagandahan ng slides eh. Ito yung content at saka paano nyo i-deliver yung ituturo nyo. So for me, yun lang. Siguro, wag kayong makulong sa box na, sabi nga, pwede naman kayong lumabas sa comfort zone nyo eh. So para ma-explore din kayo ng panibagong learnings. So may mga teachers din naman kayong kasama na sabi nga, isi-share naman kung ano yung knowledge nila. So ako, for me, hindi naman nga ako teacher or pero yung knowledge ko na pwede kong i-share sa ibang teachers din. So siguro makakatulong din naman yun. So bilang IT admin, hindi ko naman sinasabi na napakagaling ko, pero siguro may mga nalalaman din ako na pwede kong i-share. So siguro si teacher din naman, meron din silang nalalaman na hindi ko nalalaman na pwede nilang i-share sa akin. Yes. Yeah. Yun lang.
Ayan. Thank you, Sir Joel. Ako naman, ang ma-advise ko for everyone, I think what's happening now is overwhelming. Ang daming factors, no? Us being educators, teachers, parents, tama po, even our students, lahat tayo affected in this situation. And right now that we're doing this online, narinig nyo pa rin ako, no? Okay, so now that we're doing this online, it's actually draining being in front of our devices almost 24/7, no? So I think one would be we have to have a balance or sense of balance of everything. Otherwise, we'll be drained. Mapapagod tayo. Hindi ito racing, but we just have to make sure that we're still okay. Because sometimes we're being distracted of all the workload, of all the things that we have to do. Pero self-check din, are we still okay? So it's really good to still talk or consult with your other teachers, colleagues if you need help, or even with your other friends. Tama, kasi even our social life is also disrupted. Tama po. So I think that one. The other one, we have to be mindful since we're doing this. Minsan okay ang device natin, minsan hindi. Minsan maganda yung panahon, maganda yung connection natin. Pag bumagyo, parang nag-iiba din. So I think we have to be vigilant on the things coming. So make sure our devices are okay from time to time. Kasi nag-iiba yung condition eh. Even our, yun nga, yung connection, yung status ng ating internet connection or even yung power outage, tama po. So yung mga ganung bagay, we just have to check things para at least when we meet our students, kahit papano, meron tayong plan B, plan C. Ayan po. With that, we'll bring in the other speakers po. I'll be bringing back Sir Gary and Miss Paula. Ayan.
I love this conversation. Iba na talaga yung sama-sama tayo, marami tayong...
Oo po yan. Iba ang pwersa ng madaming teachers na
lalo na sa ating mga principal, kay Miss Maan, kay Miss Milet, kasi sila yung mas malawak yung nakikita nila kasi mas nakikita nila yung mas maraming problema na kailangan nilang i-address. So I'm thankful for Miss Maan and Miss Milet for being with us, and makikita niyo pa kami sa susunod na episode, no? So, Sir Adrian, maybe for now, we have to say goodbye na kasi medyo napahaba na tayo ng gusto.
Umabot na tayo ng almost up to 2 hours.
No? So, thank you so much for tuning in. If you need anything, just reach out to us.
Siguro, Sir Gary, we'll just plug the rest of if they need anything from GEG's support, from the schools.
Paki-flash na yung slide natin. So if you need anything from us, reach out to us. We are always here to help you. Ito po ang aming passion, to inspire, to empower, to share what we know with others. So for GEG South Manila, they have their website, geg.gg/
GEG South Manila PH. Ayan po. So pwede nyo pong punta yan if you want to visit our previous webinars. and upcoming events, yan po. It's GG South Manila, covering Las Piñas, Parañaque, Muntinlupa. Pero kung taga-ibang city kayo, pwede kayo sumali dito. Ayan po. The other one would be GEG Ortigas. Ayan po.
So,
Sir Gary,
GEG Ortigas, meron po kaming Facebook page at meron din po kaming Twitter, di ba, Teacher Paula? Meron kaming Facebook and Twitter. Wala lang po kaming website. We're working on our website. So
we're working on it.
Ano ba yung ating
so you
Twitter
can
handle?
yung Twitter handle natin hindi pa siya nag-go live, pero you can just follow us first on Facebook. So just it's GEG Ortigas. Just look for us. And then we also have an exclusive team. So if you want to like get updates ng kayo yung mauuna, you can also look for us in Facebook sa Facebook groups naman. So GEG Ortigas team. So yun po.
So GEG Ortigas and GEG
the growing team of
team.
GEG Ortigas and South Manila. Ayan po. And then ipa-plug lang din namin GEG Philippines po. Bali ito po yung kumaga lahat po ng mga GEG chapters in the Philippines. So we're all part of GEG Philippines and we have a social media campaign. It's called #Anong G Suite Story Mo. So if you have your most memorable G Suite experience, kahit anong application po ito, you can share it via video. You can create your video telling about that story, or you can also upload an image and or just write or kwento nyo kung anong G Suite story mo. Ayan. So, yan po. You just have to add the #anong G Suite, #anong G Suite story mo, and #GEG Philippines. So we'll be featuring some of your stories in the coming days. Ayan po. So
we're happy to feature all their stories, Sir Adrian. No?
Yes, tama po.
Maraming natuto ngayon ng G Suite na napakamagandang application na hindi na natin kailangan bumili.
Yes,
so yan
kasi,
po ay pinagkaloob sa atin ng Google. Okay.
Tama po. Ayan. So the goal of this is to inspire other educators or even users, other professionals with regards to using the other G Suite applications. Ayan. And then if you need any support when it comes to applying for Google for Education accounts or upgrading it to Google Enterprise for Education, you can just email Q Software Research Corporation. So they're the Google for Education partner here in the Philippines.
Adrian, I'd like to stress out lang, kasi Google is giving the G Suite for Education for free. Please make sure na hindi po kayo naloloko. Alam niyo po, marami pong nagtitake advantage sa ganitong libre na binibigay. So please make sure to reach out to education@qsr.com.ph.
Yes.
Wala pong bayad para sa eskwelahan ang mag-apply ng G Suite for Education account. As long as you have the complete requirements, Google will give you the G Suite for Education account. Iyan po ay ang mission ni Google. Isa po sa mga mission ni Google. So please reach out to education@qsr.com.ph. Okay.
Ayan po. And then, so GG Philippines, this is our new website. We just moved into another one. So it's www.gg.ph.education to know all the other GG chapters here in the Philippines. The other one also, if you're interested to purchase Chromebooks as well, we have Chromebook Store Philippines. Again, the Chromebooks are devices made by Google. So it's an operating system na ay Chrome. Ayan po. So if you're interested on this, you can message Chromebook Store Philippines in their Facebook page. The other one is that kung nabitin po kayo sa ating webinar, you can also go to Look Beyond the Classroom. This is my YouTube channel. So I produce different videos on tutorials and other educational technology related content to help teachers how to integrate technology in their classes. Ayan po. So it's Look Beyond the Classroom. Then, ang daming plug. So the other one is Sir Neil. Ayan, bigay ko kay Neil yung
Ayun po, shameless plugging din. You can follow my blog at the backpackadventures.com. If wala pa po kayong history books, textbooks, Aviva, we in Aviva, we have the modules already, so you can avail of that also. Thank you so much, Sir Adrian, for letting me plug in my work.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Ayan. And
guys.
then, meron pa po. Sandali lang. Ayan. I'll be one more. Ayan. Ayan po, Miss Paula.
Okay. Actually, Sir Adrian, I think we should take a two slides back para doon tayo kay, two slides back. Yeah, there you go. Ayan. Sir
You know,
Gary?
ako naman ay, if you need any help with regard to training or any assistance with regard to anything about technology, you can email me at gary@edtechandbeyond. And also, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is my channel. Pasensya nyo lang po, walang pong editing needed yung ginagawa kong video kasi po, alam ko po, ang pinakamahalaga maibigay ko sa ating mga guro ay yung content. So you can check out the videos that I have. Pasensya lang po, wala pong editing needed. Magaling po si Sir Adrian sa editing. Wala po akong ganang skill.
Pa-follow na lang po, ha?
Yeah. Yeah. So, let me know if you need any help. Email niyo po ako. Anong gusto niyo matutunan? Let's say about G Suite for Education, Google Sheets or Google Form, or the integration or the collaboration of the different tools of G Suite. Let me know po, no? Salamat
Ayan
po.
po. Then, dagdag ko din po, look beyond digital learning solutions. So if you're also interested in other training programs for your schools, we have distance learning strategies with G Suite for Education and third-party applications. So that's one. The other would be Google Certified Educator Level 1. So if you're interested on this, you can just email us at lookbeyondtheclassroom@gmail.com. Ayan po. So pwede nyo balikan itong video to or take a screen cap of this. Thank you, Miss Paula. Ayan.
Yeah, okay. So yung isa naman, I just want to also give a shout out to my co-teachers. So if you want to know more about our school and our blended and online learning programs, so you can visit our website at www.cornerstoneacademy.edu.ph, and also you may email us at info@cornerstoneacademy.edu.ph. And also please follow me on Twitter. I will be putting it dun sa ating chat, sa live chat, yung aking Twitter page. I usually tweet like ano yung mga ginagawa ko as a teacher, ano yung mga nakakatulong sa akin, and ano yung mga bagay na natutunan ko na gusto kong i-share sa ibang mga co-teachers ko, not only here in the Philippines but even around the world. So yun po. Maraming salamat, everybody.
Ay, Sir Adrian, gusto ko lang batiin yung mga nasa Bacolod City National High School, lalong-lalo na sa English Department. Maraming salamat po sa pagtutok at lalong-lalo po din sa kanilang department head. Maraming salamat po sa panonood.
Ayan po. So, the other one, sign up po for the Learning Studio if you're interested. If you have your kids, small kids, meron po tayong program also for them. It's called Kids Learn at Home. So you can try their trial class. Check it out in their Facebook page. It's called The Learning Studio. So ayan po, pwede po kayong mag-inquire on this. And then the other one, we'd also like to greet also
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Ayan po. So our Senior Program Manager of Google Asia Pacific po, Miss Eileen Apollo De Jesus. Birthday po na ngayon. Happy birthday po sa inyo.
Happy
Ayan po.
birthday!
Happy birthday, Miss Eileen.
Ayan po. So, ayan. Siya po ang dahilan kung bakit meron po tayong GEG. Not just in the Philippines, but in the whole world. So, nagsimula po ito sa GEG Philippines. Sa Philippines po nag-start. Ayan, ang GEG. Again, with that, happy birthday po.
Happy birthday! Okay.
Happy birthday!
Ayan. So, I think with that, we're done with all the slides.
Yes. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you soon for another webinar. Ano yung topic na magandang suggestions for the next one? Strategies, and student engagement. So, for that,
Yeah.
maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. And stay safe and God bless us all. Paalam po sa inyong lahat.
Paalam po sa inyo.
Bye po.
Paalam po.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye po, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for